Ladies and gentlemen, for the purposes of today's ceremony, this is considered an outdoor event. Therefore, hats are required for military members in uniform. Proper etiquette and respect for the flag requires members to be at attention and render a salute during the national anthem. For those not in uniform, during the national anthem, it is appropriate to place your right hand over your heart. At this time, we request all electronic devices be turned off or placed on silent for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 23rd Flying Training Squadron's Change of Command ceremony. Today, the men and women of the 23rd say goodbye to Lieutenant Colonel Joseph D. Davis upon his departure as commander, and welcome Lieutenant Colonel Daniel D. Coughlin as the new commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Colonel Derek D. Price, Commander, 58th Operations Group. I am First Lieutenant Villanueva, your narrator for today's ceremony. The formation leader is Lieutenant Colonel Tyndall, 23rd Flying Training Squadron's Director of Operations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct pleasure to recognize the distinguished visitors who are here with us today. I would ask that you hold your applause until all of our guests have been introduced. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Davis's wife, Christine, his children, Towns, Winslet, and John Hudson, his parents, Tim and Betty Davis, Christine's parents, Ward and Clarissa Coleman, Christine's sister, Anita Mullis, and brother, Michael Coleman, Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin's wife, Jamie, his children, Bree, Ellie, and Miles, his parents, Mike and Robin Coughlin, Jamie's father, Ben McCabe, and his wife, Denise, and mother, Nadia Smith, and her husband, Billy, his brothers, sister, and their family and friends. We would also like to welcome numerous distinguished visitors joining us for today's ceremony. Brigadier General Retired Stanley Pedritis, Colonel Retired Kyle Taylor, Chief Master Sergeant Tino Madrid, Chief Master Sergeant Alex Udy, and Chief Master Sergeant David Owens. And finally, all of the friends, family, and fellow military members who have joined us for this significant event. The change of command is a military tradition deeply rooted in history and dates back to the Roman Legion. In that period, military organizations developed flags unique to the organization with specialized colors and designs. When soldiers followed their leaders into battle, they kept sight of their flag. If the banner still waved after the conflict, it was a sign their side had been victorious. Having a position of such importance, the flag was incorporated into ancient change of command ceremonies. The organizational banner was exchanged in public for all to see that the one who held the flag was the unchallenged leader of the armies. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history and is continued today in front of the airmen of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. It is an open visual display meant to inform subordinates of the change in leadership and represents the transfer of unit loyalties from one commander to the next. Today, with the passing of the guidon, command of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron will transfer from Lieutenant Colonel Davis to Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin. The instant Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin takes the guidon from Colonel Price, he assumes command of the squadron and all of the responsibilities the position entails. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem performed by the 23rd Flying Training Squadron's very own Staff Sergeant John Stedman, followed by the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Chaplain Kennis will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear God, we present ourselves before you on this special occasion to ask your blessing upon the 23rd Flying Training Squadron and all those gathered for this change of command ceremony. What a privilege to pray for these two distinguished airmen. Lord, we do not presume that one can effectively lead without your guidance and insight. So today we thank you for the help and strength provided to Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Davis to deliver exceptional leadership to this squadron. As he departs, I pray that he will experience the reward of serving well, and that he and Christine and his family will know your grace and peace as they transition to their next assignment. And God, for the incoming commander, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin, I pray his tenure in command will be executed with integrity and honor. May the airmen who serve under his command never question his commitment to their well-being. And when he stands on the opposite side of this guidon, may he have no regrets. Sir, guard the trust. May you and Jamie and your family know his presence during this tour. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Kennis. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The squadron will now be presented to the presiding official. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander, 58th Operations Group, Colonel Price.
Upgrade.
All right, an awesome crowd. So good morning, and I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Today we had the opportunity to celebrate an outstanding command tour for Lieutenant Colonel Davis. Welcome Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin and the command team. Let me first start by saying thanks to a few people who made today's ceremony possible. Chaplain Ennis, outstanding. Thank you for your inspiring words and support. Sergeant Stedman, it was a phenomenal rendition of the national anthem, so thank you. Colonel Tyndall, Captain Majelis Mulkey, Lieutenant Villanueva, Sergeant Brandy, Airman Ortiz, Airman Jenkins, and everyone else who's had a hand in today's events. Thank you for your hard work and taking time away from your primary duties. The mission here at the FTU is to keep you overwing pilots and special mission aviators flowing to the Air Force. A mission that isn't like this can help us. Thank you. I'd like to welcome the Davis family, especially Joe's wife, Christine, children Towns, Winslet, John Hudson, parents Tim and Betty, as well as Christine's parents, Clarissa, along with many family and friends. Joe has done an incredible job as squadron command, leading some of the most innovative changes in our unit's history, and he could not have done it without your success. He could not have had his success without your mentoring and support. I should be extremely proud of him. Also, a warm welcome to the Coughlin family, Coach's wife Jamie, his children Bree, Ellie, and Miles, parents Mike and Rob, Jamie's father, and his wife Denise, and their mother Nadia, and her husband Billy, as well as many fans and family and friends and privileged. The 23rd here at Fort Nova Sales, lucky to have your continued support, and we thank you. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our distinguished visitors and guests with us. General Ramirez. Thank you for your support for the 23rd. Carl Taylor, Chief Madrid, Chief Beauty, Chief Owens, along with Mr. Lancetta, and our outstanding maintenance team, as well as many other colonels and chiefs, colleagues, and friends that are here with us today. Your time and support for this incredible unit is very much appreciated, so thank you. All right, so Joe, 2 years ago, you took command at a time of incredible change. The Air Force's pilot crisis had finally forced in action the decisions to split the rotor wing and fixed wing pipelines finally came to fruition. The responsibility of running a rotor wing only pipeline fell to you and your team. At GSU, living on an Army post hours away from the nearest Air Force base, and the support that comes with it. You were charged with setting up helicopter training decks, rotor wing intro to flight programs, revitalizing the enlisted aviator program, and producing students on time with no degradation in quality. Not to mention the accomplishment list during the worst health pandemic in the last 100 years. Your team crushed these goals and reached full-scale implementation an entire year ahead of schedule, a feat that no one thought was possible. You incorporated cutting-edge technology to transform the way our students learn. You modernized training that has largely been unchanged for the last 15 years, and you set a baseline of excellence that will serve these aviators for years to come. As a geographically separated unit, you fostered critical relations with our USACE partners and established a key training pipeline to build experience and prepare Maxwell for the MH-139 while still executing the largest flying hour program in the squadron's history. In short, you've knocked it out of the park. But your success doesn't come because of the actions of an individual. It takes an entire team, and that's the most important thing that you have built here at the 23rd. A leadership team that is functioning at the highest level. Coach, Sergeant Moody, Team Tyndall, Sergeant Granger, and Klein, and the rest of your team accomplished incredible things over the last 2 years. And the highest praise that you can receive as they walk away is that the organization doesn't miss a beat. That is definitely the case here at the 23rd. You've led them well, and they're ready to succeed without you. So congratulations on graduating, and welcome to SOCOM. Coach, now it's all on you, and the stakes are high. 23rd is the Air Force's sole vertical lift pipeline, and it is a no-fail mission. AFSOC, Global Strike, ACC, AETC, and numerous COCOMs around the world are completely reliant on you and your team to produce the next generation of operators and leaders. We have executed a tremendous amount of change over the last couple of years, but now it's time to let these changes settle and see where we need to make adjustments. I've watched you grow and develop as a leader over the last year, and I know that you're up to the challenge. That challenge for you is to continue to seek new ways to make this squadron the best undergraduate training program in the Air Force. Challenge the status quo. Empower your team to make decisions and give them enough maneuver space to learn and make mistakes while giving them the support and top cover that is needed. And more important than all of that is to take care of our airmen. The world is changing rapidly. And now more than ever, we need to strengthen our Air Force family, and you are exactly the right person to do that. So again, thank you to everyone for being here today and your support. Thank you to our Fort Novacell family for supporting the 23rd and the incredible mission that y'all execute here. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Davis.
Good morning. Everybody hear me okay in the back? Are you just pretending? Good? All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming out to witness this time-honored ceremony as I pass the controls of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron over to my good friend, fellow Fabe, and longtime karaoke partner, Lieutenant Colonel Dan Coach Kaufman. To the Fort Novacell team, Colonel Johnson, Colonel Parker, thank you for being here today. The enduring support and advocacy that you, USACE, and the garrison provides to the 23rd FTS is what allows us to be successful in our mission. I'm grateful for all that you and your team do for us. Brigadier General Madridis, thank you for traveling all the way back to Fort Novacell for this day. I'm not sure what you saw on the 23rd that drew your interest, but I sure am thankful that it did. As our squadron experienced significant change and growth over the last 3 years, there are several key times where I am sure that we would not have been able to do what we need to do without your support and advocacy. You always wanted us to ask, and you always delivered what we needed. Thank you for being such a staunch advocate and supporter. Chief Master Sergeant Beauty, I saw you sneak in the back. My cohort mate from Naval Postgraduate School, the newest Commandant of Senior NCO Academy at Maxwell. Thank you, my friend, for traveling all the way down here to be here today. I feel some pressure because I saw your assumption of leadership speech, and I'm certain this will be nowhere near as good. I look forward to your notes as always. Colonel Price, thank you for traveling all the way out here to officiate this change in command. I know it's part of the job, but I also know your travel schedule is tremendously busy. So it's not lost on me that you took the time to be with the 23rd on this special day. Ladies and gentlemen, this command tour is not at all what I expected it would be. Colonel Price mentioned a few things, but allowed me to go into some detail because I took time to write it. I started my professional flying career in this squadron in 2007 as a first assignment instructor pilot. As you can imagine, it was a very different time in which we were waging 2 wars, and yet resources were constrained at home. This squadron was a sleepy backwater unit that no one ever paid any attention to. I recall the group and wing commander coming out maybe once per year. While that may not be exactly true, I can say for certain I don't remember meeting them more than one time in my entire time here. So in 2019, when I was notified that I would be going to the 23rd to be the operations officer and eventually command, I was honored and immediately filled with a false expectation that I knew exactly how the next 4 years was going to go. After all, nothing ever changes at the 23rd. I got this. I even recall telling the then commander, Jake Whittingham, over the phone, I'm excited to create the next generation of helicopter pilots. I had no idea what I was about to do. My friends, it did not take long before the universe and one conversation between a few Air Force generals would ultimately define my command. I think we all remember this little thing called COVID-19 and have many personal stories about how the pandemic affected our lives. For the civilian guests in the audience, the challenge put forth to military leaders was more or less, you can't fail at COVID, but you can't fail at your mission either. Which is a very difficult thing to do when you're trying to train the world's best rotary wing aircrew. Turns out the cockpit of the Huey doesn't allow for social distancing. Regardless, we adapt and improvise as leaders. We find a way to make it work, and we did. I'm proud to say that this squadron had very minimal impacts to the pandemic. We protected people during the time when we knew very little and met our mission despite the challenge. Even though I first predicted multiple classes being late by the fall of 2020 and getting worse as time went on, I challenged our team to come up with a way to keep everyone moving, and they did. We accepted the risk only where necessary and ensured that the squadron's mission did not fail. While we may have come close to being late many times, we have never missed delivering a student on time to their follow-on training. As if COVID did not pose enough of a leadership challenge, near simultaneously, our Air Force senior leaders, most of whom were helicopter pilots, had a conversation about the pilot production crisis. During that conversation, they recalled a time nearly 30 years ago when all Air Force helicopter pilots only flew helicopters. If they only started that up again, they could increase the production capacity. It was a good idea. It still is a good idea. However, soon after that conversation, I would personally find out it would require a tanker's worth of work to make it happen. The challenge of HTN, or Helicopter Training Next, as it would be called, was to remove and replace approximately 50% of the legacy training pipeline for helicopter pilots. This was the most significant change the training course had in 3 decades, and no one was exactly sure how to do it. But we knew 3 things. It could not take any longer, it could not be more expensive, and the quality had to be as good or better. Now, I'm not one to run away from work, but this level of institutional change does not happen overnight. This program would ultimately take years to test, evaluate, stabilize, and scale for production. Believe it or not, testing was the easy part, compared to the effort required to build the infrastructure around the program that will ensure its success. Over time, Helicopter Training Next became the most successful program towards fixing the pilot crisis, according to the commander of Air Education and Training Command. We moved rapidly on testing out new training paradigms and equipment like virtual reality on our small group tryout classes. We implemented adjustments on incomplete data so that we could quickly iterate on the next SGTO class. We knew that we had very little time to shift the program and wanted to conduct as many experiments as possible. And if this sounds a little bit like a mad scientist toiling away in their laboratory, trying to perfect their latest creation, you're not far from the truth. Let's just say I had a full head of beautiful hair at the start of this command. Don't look that up, okay? Just trust me. Even though the journey of HTN was often arduous and filled with late nights writing bullet background papers and Excel products that stretched the limits of my coding expertise, it was nothing compared to the brilliant efforts of the 23rd FTS team putting in the real work. Geniuses like Mr. Destry Hill, Major Brock Duvall, Major Alex Magnuson, Major Kyle Lenz, Major Girolami, Major Zahn, Captain America, the First Avenger, just to name a few. They are the ones who did the hard work and are still doing the hard work to make sure we do not fail at our quality objective. This program is truly built up by the entire squadron, though. All of our officer, enlisted, civilian, and contractor cadre provided daily input. Even the students that volunteered have helped shape the fit and focus of the training experience. There's not a single person that has not had some effect on the outcome of HTN and ultimately what undergraduate helicopter training will become. I am thankful for each and every one of you for leaning into the problems and facing this challenge with me. As if COVID-19 and completely changing the fundamental nature of how the 23rd FTS conduct training weren't enough, we have also met unprecedented shortfall in parts for our aging Vietnam-era Huey helicopters that resulted in an average of 70% reduction in aircraft air availability. I will tell you that it is incredibly difficult to train 100 air crew with only 2 aircraft available. But as with this and all other challenges, the amazing 23rd FTS team adapted, improvised, and leaned into the problem rather than coiling back. As a result, I know that we will be successful on our mission. We will make our timelines and continue to produce the world's best rotary-wing aircraft. No commander finds success without a lot of help, and I am no exception. I know that behind every great commander, there's an entire squadron rolling their eyes. In the last 2 years, I've made many mistakes, learned from them, and grew in my leadership ability more than I had the previous 15 years of service. Thank you to the 23rd FTS team for being behind me. You have endured tremendous change and disruption over the last several years. I told you from the beginning that it was going to be a bumpy ride, but you trusted me and you stuck with me to the end. And I know that you will stick with Coach as he leads you the rest of the way. As Sergeant Moody, thanks for agreeing to be my senior enlisted leader because you had a choice. You've been there through every challenge, and I can't thank you enough for giving me your mature and honest feedback exactly when I needed it. Larissa and Ward, I have told you many times that we could not have been in command and also had 3 children under 3 without you. You've been there for every TDY and for every sick kid without fail. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Mom and Dad, I am who I am today because of the foundation you built in me and the unwavering support for this very difficult military life. I love you. Thank you. Towns, Winston, and John Hudson. Mommy and I could never have had 3 of you if you weren't so amazing. Thanks for being the best kids ever. Christine, I was supposed to give you this part of the speech beforehand, but I didn't. Sorry, I'll get it to you later. Christine, Lord knows these last 2 years are challenging. On top of a 3rd child after only 25 days after the change of command, you absolutely crushed it as a command spouse. You started a new career and are the reason we were able to rebuild the idea of the 23rd FTS family. You accepted my late nights and allowed me to offload stress of work anytime I needed it. There is no way I could have done this without you, and you deserve as much credit as I do. I love you. Coach, you've got what it takes. You were impressive to work with as my DO because you showed up instantly better at the job than me. That's how I know that you're ready for the challenge of command. Taking the most influential squadron command in AATC is a lot of responsibility, but you have a deep bench of talent. Use them. Jamie, there you go. Thanks for everything that you have done for us. It has been a joy to get to know you over the last 2 years, and I know that you're going to be a terrific command spouse. I think I'm supposed to leave you with some words of wisdom, but the speech has gone on for way too long, so I'll keep it very, very short. 1, lean into the challenges. Don't run away from them. 2, learn from your mistakes as quickly as possible. 3, trust that everyone is trying to do their best, even if it's not your best. Your leadership will make up the difference. Like most Air Force helicopter aviators, I hold the 23rd FTS in very high regard. It is a home. It is a place where careers begin. It is a place where you truly learn to love flying. While this is not the sleepy command tour that I expected, it has truly been my highest honor. Boy, right at the end. It's humid. It has truly been my highest honor to have led. It has truly been my highest honor to have led the best kept secret in the Air Force. Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Davis will now present his family with some small tokens of his appreciation for their support over his years as commander. Mrs. Christine Davis is being presented a bouquet of red roses. Red is the color of the heart and reflects the loving concern that Mrs. Davis has shown over the past 2 years. 2 bouquets of flowers are also being presented to Mrs. Betty Davis, Lieutenant Colonel Davis's mother, and Mrs. Clarissa Coleman, Lieutenant Colonel Davis's mother-in-law. A red rose is being presented to Lieutenant Colonel Davis's daughter, Winslet, and a small token to his 2 sons, Towns and John Hudson. At this time, please stand as Lieutenant Colonel Davis will receive his Meritorious Service Medal for his steadfast leadership over the past 2 years. Attention to orders. Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Davis distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 23rd Flying Training Squadron, 58th Operations Group, 58th Special Operations Wing, Fort Novosel, Alabama. During this period, Lieutenant Colonel Davis's superb leadership and strategic vision proved instrumental to Air Education and Training Command's sole vertical lift undergraduate program, providing 100% of tasked aircrew members to 7 major commands despite the challenges of a global pandemic. Also, he expertly commanded the wing's largest flight hour program of 10,000 hours while managing a $21 million budget in support of 28 aircraft, resulting in the graduation of over 150 aircrew members annually. Additionally, Lieutenant Colonel Davis transformed Air Force rotary wing flight training by implementing Helicopter Training Next, creating high-quality aircrew members while increasing the Air Force's overall aircrew production. Furthermore, he continued to propel rapid change by securing over $6.5 million in support of ground-based training aids, to include a virtual aircraft system trainer application and vital facilities for upgraded simulators. Finally, Lieutenant Colonel Davis continued to graduate students on time despite an unprecedented 70% degradation in aircraft availability due to maintenance challenges, solidifying and supporting the critical MH-139 activation. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Davis reflect great credit on himself and the United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Davis will now receive his final salute as commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron.
Arms. Order. Arms.
Colonel Price and Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin will now join Lieutenant Colonel Davis to execute the change of command for the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. Attention to orders. Special Order Number G-20-001. under provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-604, Lieutenant Colonel Joseph D. Davis relinquishes command of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, 58th Operations Group, 58th Special Operations Wing, Air Education and Training Command, Fort Novosel, Alabama, and Lieutenant Colonel Daniel D. Coughlin assumes command effective 9 June 2023 by order of Colonel Derek D. Price, Commander, 58th Operations Group. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin.
Good morning. This Air Force polyester breathes great. I'm just going to let you know. Welcome to our family, friends, and distinguished guests from the 23rd from Fort Novosel Youth Safety Team. As is tradition, I think I'm only supposed to get 3 minutes. I'm going to try to stay right around 5 just because I got a lot of thank yous to get through. If that's okay with 2306 who's standing in formation, which I'm sure it is. This afternoon we had their drop, so I promised that I would not go past noon for anything so that we could focus on their assignment night and the celebrations that they're going to have this afternoon. First off, a huge thank you to the 23rd team and the Army Center of Excellence's personnel that helped set up this spectacular event while still executing the mission. Our change of command team has dealt with 3 location changes, one of which was only 2 days ago, no stage availability, really expensive chairs, and last-minute requests from Colonel Davis and myself for everything that we were looking forward to today. I'd like to highlight a few key players. Captain McGinnis Mulkey as the lead planner, also Colonel Tyndall as the leader of troops, Lieutenant Villanueva, Major Romanek, the 23rd Front Office, Staff Sergeant Stedman, Sergeant Lamas, Airman Ortiz, Ms. Valdez, casual lieutenants, and all that joined along the way to make today a great occasion. I greatly appreciate it. Colonel Price, Jamie and I wanted to thank you and Roxanne and Colonel Graham, as well as Colonel Ripple and Colonel Curry, who hired me as the DO, and the rest of your leadership team for this opportunity. Thank you for the trust in selecting us to command the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. We are humbled and honored for this opportunity and look forward to many challenges and rewards our team will experience over the next few years. Joe and Christine, Matt and Jordan, I'm not sure if Jordan's out there. Your families, thank you very much for this tremendous tour as a command team. We have all learned so much from your mentorship and leadership. Joe and Christine, it has been great rekindling that friendship that we had 13 years ago, and I look forward to the next time that we cross paths. The 23rd has grown with you all at the helm, and we will miss you all greatly as we move on to your next adventures. To the squadron and our partners, thank you for all of your dedication to the mission and to the difficulties that we have endured, as well as the accomplishments you all have achieved. How lucky are we to have changed the 31-year-old pilot training program that Colonel Davis was talking about into our current undergraduate helicopter training program? It's a rhetorical question. We're very lucky to be able to do that, and it's been a lot of work. The obstacles you have surpassed with limited resources while still producing the best vertical lift aircrew on the planet, my slightly biased opinion, has caught the attention of not only our senior Air Force leadership, our sister services, and been briefed to Congress multiple times, but also other countries are coming here to visit the 23rd to see what we've done so they can emulate our success. Jamie and I, Colonel Tyndall, and when Colonel Tope gets here as well, including Master Sergeant Eric McElroy and his wife Reagan, are extremely excited for all the work that we're going to do for the next couple of years to move the 23rd into what undergraduate helicopter training needs as we stop changing everything and look forward into what the 23rd needs to support that mission. To my parents, my in-laws, brothers, sister, your families, thank you very much for coming down here and traveling all the way from South Dakota for a lot of you today. I'm a product of your making. You've taught me to work hard, how to be resilient and bounce back, how to care for people, and you always encourage my comedic wit. Thank you for always being there for me, Jamie, and for our kids. Real quick, if I could have all of the Coughlins and Bruas that are in the room stand up. Just real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the largest group of South Dakotans to ever visit the state of Alabama all at once. And the state will reopen on Sunday when they get home. If traveling across the country to make it here doesn't show how much they care, I don't know what does. Last but not least, Jamie, Bree, Kelly, Miles, thank you for your endless love and dedication to our family, as well as your understanding when Dad's already gone in the morning, when I miss another dinner, or when I'm on a work vacation for your major life moments. I'm so grateful to have you all in my life. We've had many adventures along the way, but this one's going to be a little bit different. Jamie remembers when I commanded the 58 maintenance operations flight at Kirtland. The kids do not. So Bree, Ellie, and Miles, for the next 2 years, we'll be adding 350 more people to our family, including their families. So get ready to help out, share your things, watch after other kids, and have fun getting to know everybody that has joined our family today. Thank you for pushing through all the sacrifices that no other spouses or kids ever have to deal with unless they're in the military. I love you. I close with words of wisdom from one of my initial mentors, and she knows it's coming. You're at the 23rd. I'm not sure where there she is over there. She's already turned red. Miss Kathy White. I was kind of talking about what should I say during this change of command, because I've looked up to her for a very long time, and I was originally one of her schedulers. And I'd say one of her schedulers, not the other way around. And in her very Army words, I get a hoorah? No hoorah. She said, tell the team to move out and draw fire. A little bit puzzled at what that meant. I kind of thought about it. I think I created it into what I would say. And I'm pretty sure it means get to work, make melt. If you don't know what that means, I can talk to you later about it. And do great things. I look forward to inspiring all of our airmen, continuing to train the world's best vertical lift air crew, and developing professional leaders for tomorrow's fight. Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin will now offer his family small tokens of appreciation for their support over his career as he prepares to take command of a flying unit. To Mrs. Jamie Coughlin, the incoming commander's wife, a bouquet of yellow rosebuds is being presented. Yellow is the color of new beginnings and symbolizes her role as the new commander's wife of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron. Yellow rosebuds are being presented to Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin's daughters, Bree and Ellie, and a small token to his son, Miles. Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin will now receive his first salute from his command.
Squadron, heads up. Preset, arms. Your command. Order, arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. The The words to the Air Force song are printed on your programs. Thank you for joining us today. Please join us for Lieutenant Colonel Coughlin's reception and Class 2306's drop festivities at the 23rd Flying Training Squadron following this ceremony. There will also be an HH60 whiskey static on display on the flight line.
I think about you all the
Appreciate you coming in.
Sam, thanks for everything.